You know those incredibly realistic artificial plants you sometimes see in like high-end corporate lobbies or luxury hotel
Oh
lounges?
yeah, the ones where you actually have to lean in and like discreetly pinch a leaf between your fingers just to figure out if it's real.
Exactly. To see if it's organic material or just, highly engineered polyurethane.
Right, with the permanent glossy sheen and those fake dewdrops glued onto the petals.
Yeah, they look absolutely perfect. I mean, there's not a single brown edge, no drooping stems, no erratic growth patterns,
Yeah.
and obviously no soil spilling over the side of the pot.
Because they require zero maintenance. No sunlight, no watering.
Right, they present this flawless aesthetic, visual perfection, 365 days a year.
But the underlying reality of that perfection is, well, it's completely static. That plant is essentially frozen in time.
Right, it doesn't respond to its environment because it doesn't need to.
Exactly.
And that precise tension between something being visually flawless but fundamentally lifeless is exactly what we're exploring today in your custom deep dive.
It's a fascinating contradiction to get into.
It really is. And, usually we bring a towering stack of dense research papers or like sprawling data sets to the table to synthesize for you. But today's mission is entirely unique.
Very different from our usual approach.
Yeah, today we are focusing all our analytical energy on a single, hyper-concentrated nugget of insight. It's a piece titled, quote, "The Barren Beauty of Comfort."
A great title.
And the entirety of the text we're analyzing is just 11 words long. Here it is. Quote, "Comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there." End quote.
Wow.
So, okay, let's unpack this. Our goal today is to deconstruct this 11-word paradox and explore why we are, so intensely drawn to a state that biologically and psychologically ultimately stifles us.
Right. And if you're listening right now and your nervous system is vibrating from the relentless pace of modern, lifelike, constant emails, algorithm-driven news cycles, all that hustle culture stuff.
Oh, man. Yeah, it never stops.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
And because of that, the idea of retreating to a comfort zone doesn't just sound like a casual preference. I mean, it sounds like survival.
Absolutely. It sounds like a necessary sanctuary.
Exactly. And our objective today isn't to, demonize that need for rest. We need to examine the invisible physiological and cognitive toll of treating that sanctuary as a permanent residence.
Right. What are you unwittingly trading away when you seek permanent shelter from the friction of the world?
Yes.
So the overarching theme of contradiction, it hits you before you even read those 11 words.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there in the title, "The Barren Beauty of Comfort."
That phrasing is so deliberate.
It really is. It forces two opposing concepts to share the same space. Because, comfort is almost universally treated as an absolute positive in our culture.
Oh, for sure. It's the plush sofa, the financial security, the perfectly predictable routine.
Right. It's the destination we are told to strive for.
I mean, we spend decades trying to engineer the friction out of our lives.
We do. But then the source pairs the word comfort with barren. And barren is a harsh, unforgiving word.
It implies a state of total sterility.
Exactly. Capable of existing, but completely incapable of producing anything new. Which, brings me right back to that perfectly manicured artificial plastic plant in the lobby.
Oh, it's the literal embodiment of barren beauty.
Right. It never blooms. It never drops leaves to create compost for the next season. It never adapts. It just, gathers dust in a state of suspended animation.
What's fascinating here is how deeply this tension is rooted in our neurobiology.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, the desire for a comfort zone is not a character flaw. It is a highly evolved metabolic strategy.
Wait, a metabolic strategy?
Yeah, your brain is fundamentally an energy-hungry prediction machine. It consumes about 20% of your body's energy while only making up 2% of its weight.
Wow, that is a massive energy drain.
Exactly. So to conserve that massive energy expenditure, the brain constantly seeks to make its environment entirely predictable.
Okay, I think I see where this is going.
When it recognizes a pattern, when it knows exactly what is going to happen next, which, by the way, is the functional definition of comfort zone, it can shift into a low-power mode.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
It stops allocating resources to neuroplasticity and instead relies on deeply grooved, automated neural pathways.
So the comfort zone isn't just like an emotional feeling of safety. It's your brain successfully achieving maximum metabolic efficiency.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It is the biological equivalent of putting your car in neutral and coasting.
Wow.
And when you achieve that state of predictability, The brain rewards you with a release of neurochemicals that induce calmness and contentment.
So it literally feels good on a chemical level.
Right, and this is why the source text is so resonant. It doesn't resort to hyperbole. It doesn't call the comfort zone a trap or a prison.
No, it openly acknowledges its aesthetic and neurochemical appeal. It calls it a, quote, beautiful place.
Exactly. By validating our hardwired desire for safety, the text highlights exactly what makes the comfort zone so exceptionally seductive and therefore so difficult to leave.
That biological drive to conserve energy completely recontextualizes the first half of our source quote. The phrasing is, comfort zone is a beautiful place, followed by a pause.
That lingering moment before the second half.
Right. And in writing, that pause is never an accident. It represents a lingering, like a hesitation.
It's the textual equivalent of taking a deep, long exhale and just sinking your weight into the couch.
Yes. It's that comfortable resting state before reality sets in. The moment you look around your life, you see that your immediate threats are neutralized, your routine is set, and you just sort of linger in the beauty of that low-power mode.
It is a suspension of effort, a temporary amnesty from the demands of adaptation.
Wait, though, I want to jump in here because I think if you're listening to this, you might be feeling a bit of internal friction right now.
How do you mean?
Well, if I've worked my whole life, maybe clawed my way out of a really chaotic, stressful, or impoverished situation, just to finally get to a boring, stable routine where my bills are paid and my family is safe.
Right, the dream for so many people.
Exactly. So why is society making me feel guilty for enjoying that? If I finally built my beautiful place, shouldn't I be allowed to just sit in it? I mean, am I supposed to just keep struggling forever?
That is such a valid question. But the thing is, the text isn't issuing a moral judgment on the listener for desiring stability.
Okay.
It doesn't claim you are lazy for enjoying the sanctuary you fought to build.
Mhm.
Rather, it is acting as a mirror reflecting a law of physics and biology.
Oh, I see.
It merely states what happens, or more accurately, what does not happen, while you are residing there. The critical distinction we have to make is between consolidation and chronic understimulation.
Meaning, like the difference between taking a pit stop and deciding you're at the finish line.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. In cognitive science, after you learn a new skill or overcome a massive stressor, your brain actually requires a period of consolidation.
So you need the rest.
You absolutely do. You need the quiet, predictable environment of the comfort zone to stabilize those new neural connections. You need to rest at base camp after a tough climb. But, and this is the key, if you refuse to ever leave base camp again, a process called synaptic pruning accelerates.
Wait, what is synaptic pruning? That sounds intense.
It is. Your brain, realizing it no longer needs to solve novel problems or adapt to new stressors, begins to literally dismantle the neural architecture responsible for cognitive flexibility and resilience.
Oh, wow. So if you don't use it, your brain actually tears it down to save energy.
Exactly. The beautiful place is functionally designed to be a temporary sanctuary for rejuvenation. When it becomes a permanent address, the neurobiology shifts from recovery to atrophy.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
And that is exactly where the pause ends in the quote. You can linger in that rest, you can consolidate your resources, but eventually that lingering breath gives way to the word but.
That one word changes everything.
It does. It pivots the entire philosophy of the text. It moves us from the illusion of the beautiful place to the harsh, undeniable consequence of the second half of the quote, which is, but nothing grows there.
The author presents a stark, unforgiving binary there. Notice the absolute nature of the phrasing.
Yeah, it doesn't say growth is slower.
No, it says nothing grows there. Zero. And to understand why this is a scientific certainty, we have to look at the mechanical relationship between friction and adaptation.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, because we can actually see this exact mechanism play out in one of the most fascinating ecological experiments ever conducted.
Oh, you're talking about the Biosphere Project.
Yes. Back in the early 1990s, scientists built this massive, artificially enclosed ecological system in the Arizona desert called Biosphere 2.
It was a massive undertaking.
Huge. It was a 3-acre complex of sealed glass domes. And inside, it had an ocean, a rainforest, a savanna, agricultural areas. The whole goal was to create a perfect, self-sustaining environment.
A literal engineered beautiful place.
Exactly. It was an attempt to design an ecosystem entirely free from the unpredictable hazards of nature.
The ultimate comfort zone for plant and animal life.
Right. So they carefully controlled the temperature, the humidity, the light. Everything was totally optimized for growth.
And at first it worked, didn't it?
It did. Initially, the trees inside the biosphere grew incredibly fast. They shot up much quicker than their counterparts out in the wild. But then something bizarre started happening.
Right.
Once the trees reached a certain height, they just started collapsing. They would suddenly snap under their own weight and fall over.
Which was completely unexpected.
The researchers were totally baffled. I mean,
Yeah.
the trees had perfect soil, perfect water, perfect light. What were they missing?
They were missing the wind.
Yes. Inside that pristine glass dome of Biosphere 2, there was no wind. There was zero environmental friction pushing against the trees.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the mechanism behind why those trees collapsed explains the exact premise of our 11-word source text.
How so?
Well, in the natural world, as a tree grows, wind constantly blows against it, right? Causing it to sway and bend.
Sure.
This environmental stress causes microfractures in the root systems and the trunk. The tree responds to this stress by synthesizing a specialized cellular structure called reaction wood, or in the case of conifers, compression wood.
Reaction wood. Okay.
And this reaction wood is denser, thicker, and structurally superior to normal wood. It is the biological adaptation to friction.
So the friction of the wind is literally what signals the tree to build structural integrity.
Yes. Without the wind pushing against it, the tree inside the dome only grew soft, weak cellulose. It looked beautiful and tall, but it lacked the internal fortitude to sustain its own mass.
Wow. So the complete absence of stress caused a catastrophic failure.
Because growth is not just about expanding in size. It is about building the capacity to withstand complexity.
That is such a powerful parallel.
And when we apply the lesson of Biosphere 2 to human psychology, the parallels are striking. I mean, we spend massive amounts of energy today trying to build our own personal glass domes.
We really do. We curate our social media algorithms so we are never confronted with a dissenting opinion.
Right.
We automate our tasks to avoid minor inconveniences. We use technology to insulate ourselves from social friction, awkward conversations, and physical discomfort.
We are successfully eliminating the wind from our lives.
Man, that hits hard.
And in doing so, we are depriving our cognitive and emotional systems of eustress.
Wait, eustress, like EU stress?
Yes. It's the beneficial, productive stress required to build psychological reaction wood. Consider the mechanics of myelin, for example.
Okay, what is myelin?
Myelin is the insulating sheath that forms around nerves in your brain and spinal cord, allowing electrical impulses to transmit quickly and efficiently.
Got it. So it makes your brain work better.
Exactly. But myelin does not spontaneously wrap around neural circuits while you are comfortably executing tasks you already know how to do.
Of course not. It's never that easy.
No, it's not. The thickening of myelin is triggered by the process of reaching slightly beyond your current capability, making an error, feeling the frustration of that error, and then correcting it.
Okay, so that feeling of frustration, that actual friction, is the biological signal for adaptation.
Exactly. If you never push yourself to the point of making an error, if you only operate within the pristine boundaries of your comfort zone, the myelin doesn't thicken.
And your cognitive pathways remain structurally weak, just like the trees in the biosphere.
The environment of the comfort zone just lacks the necessary data input to catalyze emotional maturation or skill acquisition.
Right. You do not learn how to navigate complex conflict by retreating from difficult conversations.
No, and you do not discover the depth of your own resilience if you orchestrate a life that never demands it. True peace, true psychological stability comes from the earned confidence of knowing you have the structural integrity to handle the storms outside the dome.
It does not come from pretending the storms don't exist by hiding inside.
Precisely.
And hiding inside eventually leads to a very specific kind of rot. I mean, we often confuse the stillness of the barren beauty with peace, but beneath the surface there is usually a creeping sense of stagnation.
That quiet, nagging voice in the back of your mind on a Tuesday afternoon that wonders, is this all there is?
Yes. And that isn't ingratitude. That is the sound of your potential practically begging for a little bit of wind.
It's your biology recognizing that you are standing still while the world is moving forward.
Exactly. It is the realization that avoiding pain is not the same thing as experiencing joy or fulfillment.
The psychological tax of the barren beauty is profound. By permanently residing in the comfort zone, you preserve your current iteration of self, but at the absolute cost of your future self.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? I mean, how do you take this 11-word philosophy and practically apply it to the reality of your daily life?
Because it sounds heavy, but it's actually incredibly empowering.
It is, because it puts the control back in your hands. The source isn't commanding you to intentionally detonate your life or abandon all stability or like glorify suffering for the sake of some toxic hustle culture.
Definitely not. It is not advocating for distress. It is advocating for the intentional application of eustress. It is demanding radical situational awareness about your own environments.
It's asking you to look around your current landscape and be brutally honest about what you are trying to cultivate.
Right. Like, are you exhausted? Have you just survived a massive life transition, a grueling project, or a period of intense personal chaos?
If so, step into the beautiful place.
Let your brain consolidate.
Enjoy the lack of wind. Appreciate the barren beauty for what it is, a necessary temporary sanctuary for recovery.
But if you are currently seeking evolution,
If you feel that creeping stagnation and yearn to expand your capacity.
right. If you want to start a new chapter in your career, deepen the complexity of your relationships, or elevate your own emotional intelligence, well, you must accept that you cannot harvest that growth from the sterile soil of the beautiful place.
You have to actively design environments of productive friction.
You have to step outside the glass dome and let the wind hit you.
Yeah, you have to be willing to be a beginner again, to look foolish, to make errors, and to feel the discomfort of not knowing the answer right away.
Because that discomfort is the literal sensation of your brain building new pathways. This actually raises an important question, and it's sort of the thought we want to leave you with long after this deep dive ends.
Lay it on us.
We have established, both through the text and through neurobiology, that the comfort zone is a beautiful place. It is pristine, predictable, and metabolically cheap.
Right.
But logically, if nothing grows in the beautiful place, then the environment where growth does happen must possess the exact opposite characteristics.
Oh, man. So the zone of growth cannot be pristine.
No, it cannot be comfortable or perfectly controlled. It must be chaotic, uncertain, demanding, and inherently messy.
It is the frustration of the error. It is the structural stress of the wind.
So as you go about your day today, as you navigate your routines, your screens, and your choices, look closely at the environments you are building for yourself.
Are you meticulously crafting a barren terrarium?
Or are you willing to trade the pristine artificial perfection of your current comfort zone for the messy, unpredictable, and uncomfortable reality of your own evolution?
Because, yeah, the friction outside the dome might not look as flawless as that artificial plant in the lobby, but it is the only place where you'll ever truly bloom.